Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the third installment of the official 343industries.org Community Forum podcast. My name is Red Star Rocket, and this week, in addition to Church and Coolest,
Hi.
Hi.
we're joined by Mayhem from the Legendary Members Group.
What's up, guys?
So, not joining us this week is Griffin, whose connection is proving to be typically unstable and unfortunately has prevented his participation.
It's also prevented us from looking at his noodles, which I think might be a great relief to everyone here.
We should mention, of course, that his noodles is not a euphemism. Literally, it has been the edible form of noodles.
Correct.
Well, that could go wrong too. Let's just say they were starch based. It was starch based pasta, and it looked delicious.
Yeah.
We were like,
in light of Griffin's profile picture, I'd say looking at his noodles is something we need to clarify.
yeah, definitely. So, as far as news goes this week, we are really, I think everyone's really hyped about Titanfall coming out, next couple days. I don't remember the date. Is it March
11th?
March 11th, yeah. Let me get the date right here, actually. It is coming out in 3 days, 6 hours, 40 minutes, and 35 seconds right now.
So that would be March 11th then?
Yeah, March 11th.
But he wanted the exact time. We had to have that exact time.
Well, if you go to Xbox.com, it's right there. So,
yeah.
Well, for what it's worth, that is the wrong time, depending on your time zone.
Well, for Eastern Standard Time,
What if you don't live in, the east of America, though?
Tough on you.
For what it's worth.
Well, you'll get it earlier than us. So
yeah,
you'll get it earlier. So we're kind of jealous of that. But doesn't matter. You probably won't be picking it up anyway. So I pre-ordered Titanfall, as I said last week in the podcast, and it's going to be pretty fantastic. Actually, a little change that we're going to be doing to the podcast this week is we're going to have the member section of the member question and answer section live from the podcast. We're going to have that right now at the front end of the podcast, so that we can not just get that out of the way, but it'll also give us some more material to talk about for the remainder of the podcast. So I'm going to open it up to questions right now. And Red, can you go with some of the selected questions that we have?
Yeah, we got a ton of questions from Beckoning Zebra a few days ago. So the first one is going to be very, very controversial depending on who's listening. How do you feel about armor lock, and do you want it in Halo 5?
I'll go ahead and leave now.
Yeah.
Okay, well then how about we listen to you first. Total Mayhem, what is your opinion on armor lock?
I'm not a big fan of armor lock. I'm personally more of a fan of the classic Halo feel, where you have no armor abilities except for whatever you can pick up off the ground and throw once.
So sort of equipment rather than abilities then?
Right. For me, it's more when you have armor abilities, it gives more of an unfair advantage. Like if everyone's using armor lock and a team's actually trying to get the kills, they're kind of screwed because as soon as they're about to finish you off, you go into armor lock and
just wait for your shields to regenerate.
Well, I actually had no luck ever using armor lock to defend myself from damage. I always caught it wrong, and I would get the sticky wrong. What I used armor lock for is the awesome melee kill, where you went into armor lock. I know it's newbie, but I used to do it all the time. You go into armor lock, you break out, and you EMP the guy next to you, and then it's just a one melee.
Yeah.
I thought that at least in my opinion took not a little bit, but a good amount of skill to do. So I felt that was somewhat of a concession for armor lock.
You see, I disagree because of the size of the EMP, which was significantly larger than people expected, you didn't even really have to be in melee range for that EMP to affect you. And considering generally how happy Reach was with granting advantages to people at close quarters over actual close quarter weaponry, I thought it was something that wasn't really needed. Or at least a way that would have been better at balancing it would have been to allow sort of physical damage to pass through the armor lock itself, so that melees would just cause damage anyway, or to force the EMP to also remove the armor locker's shields as they emerged from it to give a better chance to anyone on the receiving end.
Something that I did think was newbie is if you caught your armor lock right, your shields could recharge while you were still in armor lock, and I felt that was definitely newbie.
Which kind of gives another unfair advantage to armor lock in general.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so we have quite a few questions in the shout box at first. So since we have you as a guest on here, Mayhem, we have a question for you. What was it like being on the moderating team, and what inspired you to aim for such a high position on staff?
I'll start with the second half first. Honestly, I really didn't aim for any part of the staff at first. I remember Absolute Dog approached me about joining communications, and from there, I just did what I had to do. And after a while, I'm like, what else can I do for the forum? So I messaged him about it and said, what can I do to help this forum out more? And he replied, he goes, I'm glad you asked that, and I'll get back to you soon about that. And then before I knew it, he had chosen me in the staff forum to be a moderator. I didn't expect it at all, but it was very humbling and honoring to hold that position. Being a part of the team at that time, it was I think it was a bit more hectic. You had a lot more people coming in, trying to cause trouble, trying to spam, trying to just get ahead of everyone, and it really wasn't fun, you could say, but it was a lot of work. As a moderator, you really had to dig down and find crap. I remember I stumbled upon a topic where it was like 3 or 4 different spam bots were just talking to each other. And I was like, well, crap. So, I mean, when I look back on it, you really had to pay attention. I know the moderators now still have to do that as well. I've even seen moderators go over topics and miss something, and I go back and I found one word in a post that had a link in it to an offsite location, and believe me, it wasn't pretty when I found it.
You would have been, I think, in the last generation of moderators that had to deal with really large numbers of spam bots and things as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. We had a huge outbreak, especially around Halo 4's release.
Yeah, I was here on the forum, but I really kind of took a hiatus, and I didn't check in. I didn't check in for very often when that was happening, because it was kind of nightmarish. If you go down to the bottom of the site, we still have 8,049 people, the most online at once, and that is on November 6, 2012, which some of you may not know was, although I'm pretty sure you all do, was the release date of Halo 4.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, for me, odd, because I would have expected that to be the deadest day on the site of all. Because why would you be on the forums when you could be playing Halo 4?
Exactly, I thought that too, and I mean that's what I was doing. I waited in line at midnight. I mean, I picked up my game and I was playing it for almost 24 hours straight.
Yeah, I was in Germany at the time, and I had pre-ordered. I thought it was going to be set, and lo and behold, I have to wait a whole month before I get my copy. I'm like, crap.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, so I was sitting there while everyone was, playing Halo 4, waiting, and it finally came in the mail. I'm like, yes. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good game. I'm like, well, obviously, that's why I pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
I'm just now getting it. The bad part about it was, even though I pre-ordered it, the military PX that we lived close to, they got it in first day. I'm like, well, of course.
Yeah.
Out of all the games that, you delay, that's not one of them.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Halo 4, Beckoning Zebra wanted to know, to the podcast crew, how does it feel for there to be a ninja amongst you? And I must say, Total Mayhem is one of the best Halo players I have seen. Next to, of course, the might of the German Shepherd dog of GSD. GSD is quite good at Halo, especially SWAT. But
Quite good at Halo.
Total Mayhem here, he handed me my butt on a platter. We played a match of Halo 4 after. Yeah, Beckoning Zebra, you asked this question. You're going to be shamed in front of the world. I beat you. I sorely beat you at a 1v1 many times. Many times.
And I was in the party to hear about it too. So
I think the final total was I beat him 25-4. So
yeah, pretty much.
Just gonna put that out there. But then Total Mayhem here said, I want to play you, and I said, sure, let's play. And then he wrecked my shop. It was a fun game. It was a fun game, but he wrecked my shop. I'm pretty sure it was 25-16 or something like that.
Pretty close to that, yeah.
He handed me my butt on the platter.
Respectable mind.
Yeah. Well, although on Sakamaru, he is the leader of the ninjas, right?
Yes. And
yet I can beat him, but I can't beat you. It kind of looks to me like there's a power, like there should be a power change here. I mean,
although on the subject of members who are fantastically good at Halo, we've had return isn't quite the right word, but the re-emergence in the past few weeks of Mr. Biggles.
Yes,
he is actually going to be continuing his Become a Better Halo player series, and that was something that I read when I was first on the site.
He's definitely one of the best players I've played against in Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, unquestionably.
Yeah, him and GSD are the only two I don't think I've been able to beat 1v1. So
I just played Biggles now that he's back and a little bit more active. He asked me to play one morning, and so we only got to play 2 matches. And the first match was just a load of garbage. It was on Haven, and I fell off the map like 3 times, as did he. We were just having a hard time. But then we played on Sanctuary Remake Forge map, and I started off the match at like 4-1. I was ahead, and I was super excited, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm gonna do it!" And then
you're gonna beat the Biggles.
And then all of a sudden, he started taking out the firepower, and it ended up being like 15-10 or something like that. So, but you get your hopes up, and then you're just crushed.
That's how it usually goes.
Well, the thing that I've noticed in playing with Biggles is he has a remarkable talent to shape his luck.
That's a little harsh.
No. He's a great player, and he also has a remarkable talent to shape his luck. So together, it's awesome.
I don't think it's so much his luck, is that he is absolutely phenomenal with his positioning.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
he knows map control, and
and he knows all the exploits as well. Like,
see, back in Halo 3, when I played, there's all kinds of setups you can do to trap an opponent. You can figure out the spawns easily, like on the map Guardian. Do you guys remember the gold lift area and the sniper spawn?
Mm-hmm.
You could literally trap someone right down where the green forest area was every time. If you had just had someone sitting up there in the blue room next to the gold lift spawn,
mm-hmm.
and if you had someone sitting on Snipe Tower, you could trap them on the green side every time, just throwing a grenade to gold side, because they won't spawn you where there's gunfire or an explosion. So, I mean, they'll...
Trying to ensure a safe spawn, yeah.
Right, exactly.
So I was playing Halo 3 recently, and so I went up the gold lift room, I turned right, and I went up that hallway, right? And there's that corner. And there were these glowing blue things on the walls, and I'm like, I wonder what these are. In all of my hours playing Halo 3, I never touched these. I assumed that they were just part of the map. I'm like, huh, I wonder what these are. I punched them. The explosion was seen across the map by the buddy I was playing with. I had no idea those were there, and yet I detonated, I tell you. I blew up. It was pretty ridiculous.
I remember punching those on my very first game on Guardian. Because I was looking at them and I was like,
what are these? I'm going to punch them. Oh my gosh, all the explosions.
See, I found out the hard way. I walked by them, someone shot them, and I died.
So that's a respectable way to find out.
Yeah.
But no, we were just like, oh, I wonder what this funny-looking patch of wall is. I better punch it, because this is Halo.
Just imagine you with a DD style smirk on your face. Like, ooh, what does this thing do?
And then
I usually go around maps finding fusion coils and just punching them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with
Fusion
that,
coils.
I mean, if you look at how Biggles plays, he can trap you anywhere on the map he wants. If you're not where he wants you to be, he knows exactly where to find you.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just knows the map so well.
Oh yeah.
The other thing is an awful lot of players will fall for that trick where you turn a corner, you toss a grenade, and then they charge around the corner, it takes their shields down, then you can mop them up nice and easy.
Yeah.
Biggles never falls for that.
Never.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because that's my preferred tactic for dealing with someone who's got the advantage in combat. Find a corner and then flip a grenade onto them and clean them up.
Yeah.
But you just cannot do that with him.
He is really a legend among Halo. He's really good.
Yeah.
So we gotta go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to bring up another member that has been a little bit more active. He's been around for a while, but he's been more active recently. Unnie's Peanut, who's actually beaten Mr. Biggles now.
Yeah, and then so the many of you, some of you may know, Mr. Biggles used to have an award that he could exclusively hand out called the Biggles Award. Mm-hmm. So since he has come back, the Biggles Award, it doesn't exist in the same format that it did before. It can't be given out the same way. So Biggles versed Peanut, and Peanut beat him, and so Peanut was expecting to get the Biggles Award, and he wasn't able to do that. But I versed him in a beat 'em mod award, and he thoroughly defeated me. So I gave him that because he beat Biggles, so he's got to deserve something.
Yeah.
Well, OC and I played against Peanut and Cold Freeze, and we beat him by 1 in overtime, and it was kind of crazy because we didn't. The ninjas at the time had gone like 0-2 in the overtime at the time, and we had no luck with winning overtime. And then we finally get there, and I die. It puts it at 14-14. And OC's over there. I think he just spawned an overshield, picks it up, and I think it was either Peanut or Cold. It's one of the two. And he picks up the last kill, and he freaks out. And I'm sitting there like, what the heck, man? He's like, I did it! But,
yeah.
They are definitely two good players as well.
They are, yeah. Peanut is really, really good at Halo. He is a dead shot with a sniper. He's a dead shot. So we got a question from Edward Kenway. Have any of us seen Twam's face or heard his voice? So you see, Twam, as many of you, probably none of you know, Twam is actually the son of Bill Gates, and he just sort of. He just sort of comes and he hosts this forum for us, and we're sort of eternally grateful to him. But he's Bill Gates' son, no joke.
Oh, I heard about that.
Well, to be fair, and I quote from the Book of Forum at this point, "Those who believe and have faith shall hear the voice of Twam."
Yeah. We've all heard the voice of Twam in our lives at some point.
I thought he was just a spiritual being. I didn't know that he was an actual person. I didn't know he was Bill Gates' son. That's gonna weird me out all night. I'm not gonna be able to sleep.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's Bill Gates' son. He's gonna inherit the company soon. You know, I mean, it's gonna happen. He's gonna own Microsoft.
He's gonna own Microsoft.
And then we're gonna totally become the official 343 forum, and like us mooks are gonna be up there and we're gonna be making Halo. Totally.
Us making Halo, well, there's a bad idea right there.
Definitely.
Boy,
I will put out now, if I ever become part of the official development team for Halo, you will know because there will be a way to dual wield the rocket launcher with the shotgun. That is my dream in Halo.
No, if I get to be on the Halo development team, I will make a glitch that is going to be the hardest thing to get, but in campaign,
See, with me, it won't be a glitch. It'll just be you can pick up the shotgun and dual wield it with rockets.
Well, what it's going to be for me is the DMR has the power of the sniper.
Oh God.
So the Halo Reach DMR then.
Nah. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
It was the DM Arsenal. That's what it was.
Nah.
You either had a DMR or you were looking at the respawn screen in Reach.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Yes, it was. Team Slayer DMRs, right? In Halo Reach, it was two teams would find bases, stick their heads out for 2 or 3 seconds at a time, and then walk back and hide. And if they ran into the open, they would die.
Yeah,
That was Team DMRs in Reach.
it's kind of true.
Okay, so I got a question from PB Rabbit here. What do you think the PB in PB Rabbit stands for? I'm interested to know what you guys think. So personally, I think it means peanut butter. Peanut butter rabbit. How does that sound, guys?
See, I would have gone for a name like Percy and then a surname or something.
Peterbilt. Peterbilt rabbit. That's a brand of tools over here in the U.S. Peterbilt.
Personal book.
What'd you say?
Personal book.
Personal book rabbit. Okay. How about you, Mayhem?
The only thing coming to mind is the Kevin James movie, Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Paul Blart Mall Cop. Paul Blart Rabbit. Absolutely. That is your new name, Paul Blart Rabbit. I hope you like it. Okay, so I've got a question from Connor Kenway here. Will we ever get a 343i mobile app?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
It is.
We do have a mobile version of the site, but as for a dedicated app, it's unlikely in the near future.
Most of it is, I don't think, there's not many people on site here who would have the expertise to make it.
And the other thing as well is with a mobile app, there's not really a lot we could do with an app that isn't already on the mobile version of the site.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It would pretty much just be, you actually can get an app, the IP board app, and you can access the forum on there.
Honestly, the IP board app sucks. I've tried it before.
It kind of sucks. So it's basically it would just be the mobile site in app form.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
No one uses the mobile site anyway. When I'm on my iPod, I scroll all the way down and I'm like, come on, full site, load. Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
And then the full site on the mobile device is glitchy enough, so.
Yeah.
So overall, not going to rule it out altogether, because you never know, but it is very unlikely.
I know another question I hear a lot is if we'll ever get a mobile version of the Shoutbox.
Oh.
Site.
The Shoutbox in particular is something that is very, very unlikely to ever get mobile support.
Yeah.
It's difficult enough to manage on the forum as it is.
Yeah. A little known fact about the Shoutbox is that the IP board Shoutbox in its base form is designed to update once every 30 seconds and contain 100,000 lines of text over its entire lifetime. Yeah. Now, our Shoutbox refreshes every 10 seconds and already contains more than 2 million lines. So it's running it.
Although it did go down quite a bit when Azax's shouts were deleted.
Yeah. Fun fact: before he lost his shouts, Isaac has used an entire shoutbox's worth of data just by himself.
More than that. More than that.
Yeah, between him and Donut, they'd used something like 200,000 lines, so they'd have burned out 2 shoutboxes with them alone.
No, not 200,000 lines. Let me see. No, because Donut's got 75,000 shouts. That's 75,000 lines right there. Donut,
Yeah.
I mean, as Azax had 2.5 million.
Not 2.5 million. It was the overall shoutbox is 2.5 million.
Oh yeah, 250,000 shouts.
Yeah.
So that he had 2.5 shout boxes just himself.
Yeah.
And so we're already abusing the IP board code. I really doubt that we could get that on. I really doubt that we could get that here.
Yeah.
On any kind of mobile platform.
Again,
Red,
it's something we'll not necessarily rule out, but it is very unlikely.
yeah. So, Red, so what's the story with the 2v2 contest?
The 2v2 contest, we are currently just waiting for the final touches. We've got to playtest some maps, we've got to make sure the settings are right, and we've just got to set up all the brackets. We don't have a power of 2 number of teams, which basically means we are either going to have to deliberately seed some teams and have qualifiers, or we're going to have to scrap some teams altogether. And ideally, we would prefer to seed teams, but in the past we tend to have a fairly high attrition rate on the number of teams who sign up versus the number of teams who actually participate. So chances are in the next few days you'll be receiving a PM to check whether or not your team still wants to participate, and if so, then we will work out what's going to happen from there. But for the moment, don't worry, the contest is still on. We're just working out the last few details.
And as we described in the first podcast, we are going to have a thread up on all participating forums. That's Forge Cafe, that's Halo Customs, and that's here, where you can submit the film of your match. So that's going to be up for when the contest is actually running in full swing.
Yes.
You and me, Red, we're gonna win. Not.
I very much doubt that, but we will be trying our best. So
yeah, we will.
Good luck to everyone who's taking part.
Yep, good luck to everyone. So we have a new member of the month this week. Everyone's favorite purple dragon has now turned pink. So we have Spyro as the member of the month for this month, and yeah, congratulations to him, and we'll be happy to see you in the month of the pink, and
Congrats,
we may even have you as a guest on the podcast if you would like to be on it.
Oh, and if you guys did not see in the ninja thread, Spyro is now a ninja as well.
Oh no, we're losing more of them by the day, Red.
No, having the ninjas in the forum is absolutely fantastic.
It is. It really is. It's really
Strangely,
supporting.
It has been a while since we've really had people playing Halo, going out of their way to play Halo on a regular basis, which is an odd thing for a Halo forum.
Mm-hmm.
But over the past 6 months or so, we've seen a real influx of people whose primary motivation is getting together to talk Halo and, more importantly, play Halo together, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, we're literally spontaneous things just happen all the time. Like I'm on Halo and I get Warm Buns just invited me to a party, and it's like, well, there are a bunch of people from the forum on. We just like to play Halo, and we go play Halo, and it's really really fun, and it brings back memories. It really does.
And creates new ones, which is even more important.
Yeah, it really does. So, what next-gen games is everybody here looking forward to that are coming out in the next couple of months?
Ooh,
Good
well,
question.
the big prospective one, and I do mean the big prospective one, is going to be whether we're going to get a Halo 5 or a Halo 2 anniversary later this year, according to leaks, such as they can be described as.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'd have a better answer in a couple of months' time. But
Well, that kind of defeats the purpose. Hey, Mayhem, so we now actually have somebody on the podcast who has an Xbox One.
Yeah.
So how about you give us your opinion on the console, how you use it, and what features you like about it, etc.
All right. Well, I can definitely say it's a nice console. Straight away,
Other
when I
than being a
opened
brick.
it up, you can use your body as the controller if you want. So you just hold your hand up, and a little hand will show up on screen and allow you to select whatever you want to on screen. Once you load your profile on, it'll recognize you as soon as you step in front of it. So my Xbox is on right now, so all I have to do is say Xbox off, and it would recognize me, and I would say yes or no, and then it would turn off.
Number one troll on the internet. Xbox off. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the controller is definitely a lot nicer than the 360. I remember when I first started using the Xbox One controller, the analog sticks, they have a ton of grip, and your fingers don't slide around a lot. And so when I went to play the Ninja event with OC, and I was using the 360 controls, my fingers were sliding off the 360 remote because I couldn't hold on to it. But overall, I really like the console. I am an Xbox fan, so that could be a little biased, but I try to keep an open mind about it. I think from what I understand, they're still constantly updating apps. So right now there's a few to pick from, but what I've seen is really nice.
One of the things that's sort of been questioned with the Xbox One is supposedly they've been having quite a few problems with the party system and the chat system. Do we have any progress made on that front yet?
From what I've used it, when I played the Titanfall beta with Zagoroth, it worked fairly well. I didn't have any issues with it. All I did was open a party, invite him to it, and he joined, and that was it.
So still as straightforward and simple. And
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
you were playing the same game.
Right.
Like, as I understand it, you can't join a party if somebody else in your party is in a different game.
I'm not sure on that yet. I've not yet tested it out. From what I understand, you can't listen to voice messages from the Xbox One to Xbox 360 and vice versa. Which I'm kind of hoping they fix that, but it's not a big detail, I don't think.
The thing I don't get is the this most recent March update for the Xbox One. The advertisement for it had Major Nelson talking about all of the new improvements and stuff like that, and he went over it, and a lot of it sounded like things that the Xbox 360 already does. For instance, inviting someone to private chat and then not having to toggle talk on or something like that. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically all of it sounded like things that have already been in the 360, and the way they made it sound is like it's some breakthrough technology, whoa, look out guys, we just invented private chat on the Xbox One. And I don't get why they're trying to push it that way. They should just say, hey, we've worked out the bugs and you can now speak normally with your friends.
Yeah. Because that feature was previously available on the Xbox 360, so why is it all of a sudden now revolutionary?
Yeah, I don't get that. To switch tempo real quick, we're talking about next-gen stuff. I know I don't proclaim this very much, but something that I'm kind of hidden beneath my layers is that I'm very excited for Project Spark.
Yeah.
I want to see your guys' opinions on that game.
Total Mayhem, you did get a beta key for Project Spark, right?
I did have a beta key. I got it via email. I looked at the specs that was required, and my laptop did not match it. I needed a Windows 8.1, and my tablet would not support it either. So I was going to give it to Buns, but he got one already. And so I asked around, and I believe I gave it to Vitamin Pone.
Okay.
And he said it was fairly interesting so far from what he had played. So
Well, maybe we'll see more about Project Spark in the future.
Hopefully, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm hoping for is that, so far we've heard a lot about the Xbox One version, we've heard a lot about the Windows 8.1 version, and we have been told, if I remember correctly, that the 360 will eventually receive it once they've worked out how to fit it onto the older system.
I
Yeah.
don't see how that's going to be possible.
Yeah.
To be completely honest. The
Yeah.
hardware is just...
The other thing I've got concerns about is I don't know if we've yet heard anything about support for Windows 7, for example.
Yeah.
Or basic Windows 8, which is a shame because I would really, really like to see it on some older versions of Windows, because as great as the console versions would be, a PC version of Project Spark could open up, because of the precision of mouse and keyboard and the ease of accessibility, for some incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Part of the way I see it is, if you look at the way Minecraft has had an impact on the way games are made, it's opened up this idea of huge sandbox worlds in which there aren't really any goals so much as just pushing the bounds of what you can do with your own creativity.
Right.
Yeah.
And stuff like that has really become popular lately. And with Project Spark being released when it is, and with all the hype surrounding it about what it'll be able to do, I see that being very, very much the next big thing in gaming. And I want that to be available to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
The thing that makes me nervous the most is, let's take a game like Halo Reach, Halo 4, or Halo 3, which had a Forge mode, and how many people, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but you know, how many people out there really did terrible at making maps? And
it's true.
what makes me nervous is that Project Spark is going to be, basically, basically it's going to be Forge, where you're basically creating your own representation of what you want, but it's that, like, plus, a million times more what you can do in something like Forge. And so it just makes me nervous that some people are just going
to misuse it.
Yeah, exactly, and we're going to have mass loads of game uploads that are just terrible and no one wants to play them.
Well, then again, we don't even know how that process of, I guess, map sharing is even going to work in Project Spark.
True, that's true.
I mean, with the Forge example is a really, really good one, because if you go on, for example, the most recommended and most downloaded filters for Halo 4 and Halo Reach, you will find nothing but junk. Exactly.
Literal junk.
Yeah, like some of the worst maps you'll ever play.
I think for about 3 months, when Halo Reach was out, for about 3 months, the top recommended map was literally just a Forge creation of a monkey taking a dump. For a long time, and it was like, this cannot be the most recommended thing. I don't want to do anything with this.
Yeah.
How can I play Halo on this map?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you will always get rubbish like that. But as a side effect of that, we've had a lot of Forge communities spring up, and we've even had things like Forge Cafe and THFE, who are really, really professional reviewing service who regularly sift through the best of the Forge community and refine it even further to make better maps and to bring the best quality stuff out to Halo players as a whole. And I can see, the first few people who get into the business of reviewing, analyzing, critiquing, and promoting Project Spark creations to become very, very big things over the coming years.
Right.
One can hope, I suppose. Because community is really what drives every good anything in a lot of ways.
Unquestionably, yeah.
The community is one of the most important things about Halo. It's one of the most important things about, like I said, almost every major blockbuster game title. I mean, it's to take Mass Effect. Community had I mean, look at the uproar that was the Mass Effect 3 ending. Look at BioShock Infinite with not necessarily just BioShock Infinite, but look at BioShock with Irrational Games doing whatever they're doing now.
And we wish them the very best of luck with what that may be.
Yeah, and look at Fallout with the 2299 fake leak that somebody put on, and just so much. It really is all community.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best things about getting online, with games, with forums, whatever, is the way that you can meet people who share the same interests as you, who you just have no chance of interacting with in the real world. I mean, I'm sat here.
Look at us.
Yeah,
Look at us.
I'm sat here in Scotland, which is, 3,000 miles from America? I think?
It's about 5,000 miles from where I am right now.
Yeah.
So I'm in eastern U.S. Actually, Mayhem and I are probably the closest, because we're both eastern U.S. I mean, Coolius is west coast U.S. And Red, you're over there in Scotland, and I mean, Griffin can't be with us now, and a lot of the reason why is because he's 12,000 miles away in Australia.
Yeah, and so the chances of the members on the podcast meeting is
in real
basically
life
minimal in the real world. Yeah, I mean, it's functionally zero. The chances of you and me ever bumping into each other and then actually talking, that's zero for all intents and purposes. And yet here we are, and we regularly play together and chat together, and it's all because
really
we
cool
happen to share an interest in games. Yeah.
It's a really cool phenomenon.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic as well.
Yeah, like now, even though we are sort of just random people on the internet, even to each other in a lot of ways, I mean, it's not entirely unheard of that we might want to, I maybe eventually hang out at some point. I mean,
Right.
But that's only available, even that option is only available through that initial, I never knew you before and now I know you through this thing called the internet.
Right. Do you know Brian Simon? Have you heard of him?
Bryce-I?
Yeah, Bryce-I.
Yeah, I know Bryce. I've heard of him. No, I don't know him in person.
And you guys have heard of the old Halo 3 Pro Walshy, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. I had a friend who actually was one of my teammates in Halo 3 that we had tried to build a team together, and he was really good, and he had Bryce on his friends list, and
Wow.
they would play all the time, and I never got the I never got
the chance to play with him?
Yeah, the chance to play with him in Halo.
But you had a friend who knew him, and was on his friends list.
And they started playing a lot together, and he traveled up to Michigan, and it was Bryce-I and Walshy, and it was a LAN they were doing in Halo 3, and they all got to play together. So
that's just so cool. And
it's just kind of crazy how it all, I mean, through Xbox, through the forum, it all links together.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
For all the internet can be full of absolutely awful stuff. I mean, it's our podcast tradition to joke about some of the horrible things we found on the internet before we go live. But for all the horrible things that you find, there are so many ways to interact with people and get involved with communities and generally, really be a social creature that just wouldn't be possible without the internet.
The internet.
Yeah, it really is cool because that capacity just doesn't exist except for in this literally a random occurrence almost.
Well, I got a question for you guys.
Sure, shoot.
So, E3 is a couple months out now. What are you expecting from each of the companies to bring out? Starting with Nintendo, what do you think they have to do to get back on track in the industry?
Oh, I stopped paying attention to Nintendo before it even started.
I feel very, very sorry for Nintendo in a lot of ways, actually, because strangely enough, they seem to be one of the only companies left that, for all the focus on sort of the same titles, as it were, they're one of the only companies that really innovate in the ways that they use controls and things. I mean, the Kinect is a step in the right direction for Microsoft,
Right.
but you look at something like the Wii U gamepad and the way it blends a traditional controller and a touchscreen, and it does it really, really well. I mean, I was skeptical, and I'm freely admitting at this point that I was wrong with the opinions I've had in the past, because I always said that the idea of touchscreens on a controller just wouldn't work. But recently I have actually been spending a little bit of time on the Wii U, and I was wrong. It's absolutely fantastically blended in the way they've been doing it.
Now, do you think what hurt them was their timing on the release of it?
I think...
Absolutely. They released the Wii U far too early.
I think the other thing as well is that the Wii U tends to have fairly poor third-party support.
Right.
And the direction gaming's been going lately, over the past 10 years we've seen a much stronger shift to more adult-oriented games.
Correct.
If you go back to the early 90s, the big things, you've got Donkey Kong, Crash Bandicoot, Sonic the Hedgehog, Rayman, all those sorts of things.
Those
Things
are
that
quick
basically
games,
anyone can pick up and play. But in the past 10 years, you've had a shift towards things like Halo, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, Battlefield, Titanfall, all of which are much, much more
Matured games.
Yeah. And because Nintendo's still very much pursuing the family audience...
Are they out because of that?
They're hurting because of it.
Yeah. That's yeah.
But it wasn't all quote unquote fun and games, and I hate to use a cliche, but it's true. Some of the most mature and disgusting games also came out in that time frame.
That is true.
Oh, yeah.
The thing,
You look at the things like... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the early 90s would have been the last time we had something like the Leisure Suit Larry games coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Which were fairly gross.
Little known fact, the person who plays Leisure Suit Larry is also the person who is 343 Guilty Spark, Tim Dabido. Same actor, same voice actor.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's
There
made
you
the
go.
Yellow series very
Connection.
awkward for me.
Yeah, it's a little creepy, but it's true.
The other thing that's kind of strange is that Nintendo decided to cancel the internet service that was provided to the Wii, and I believe Nintendo DS and
Yeah, I
before.
believe so.
But anyways, the one thing that a lot of people that I've realized going to different news sites and reading comments on the article saying that they've discontinued this service, including our own site when I think it was Beckoning Zebra that posted the article. A lot of people seem to be confused, and they think that what Nintendo is doing is canceling their internet service altogether. But what it really is just everything prior to the Wii U and the 3DS. So the 3DS and beyond and the Wii U and beyond will have internet service still. It's just everything before that.
Yeah.
But I still find it odd that they decided to make that cut, because I think that the Wii was still very popular and that people were still using the internet service.
The
So I don't know.
Miiverse, for instance?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the other thing is, Azax made an excellent point, and he was saying that some of the Pokemon games which have recently come out, or things like Animal Crossing, which are very, very internet heavy, are still very, very popular on some of this hardware. And so cutting the internet community from that,
It's
That
almost
kills a lot of
catastrophic.
your...
yeah. I mean, it may make good economic sense, but it is going to hurt goodwill among the fans, and
Right.
generally...
Well, it already has. It already clearly has.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Nintendo, because they have had financial problems in the past few years, they really need the goodwill of their fans now more than ever. So weighing up that decision, immediate economic benefit versus fan goodwill, I've got to say I'm happy I'm not the one who had to make that call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does push their customer base to want to move to the newer systems, so that way they can get back on that internet train. But yeah, I don't know. It probably was a very difficult choice.
Yeah. I mean, you hate to see that happen to Nintendo as well. I mean, I grew up with Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube, so on and so forth, and I loved them all. But to see this happen, it's just unfortunate for them.
For me, I have always sort of not held lesser respect for Nintendo for the reason being I never got into that style of game. Halo was and is my first love.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's a little different for me because when I was first playing games, I was using the Master System and the Mega Drive, which is, I think, the Genesis in America. And so I have a particular fondness for all those sort of old early 90s games, platformers, puzzlers, that kind of thing. And since Sega dropped out of the race, or the console wars years back, Nintendo have been the only ones really catering for that particular demographic, and it's very, very sad in a way to see the last of the old great companies beginning to potentially hit the last days.
That's the other thing I was going to mention with Nintendo, kind of feeling how they're feeling right now. The only thing that I think of is Sega, is how Sega kind of did the same thing, and then they slowly just started selling parts of their company to different companies, mostly to Nintendo. And then now it looks like the same thing's happening to Nintendo, and I hope that it's not, but I'd hate to see that same deal go down.
yeah. Well, also, I don't know if you knew this, but Nintendo has announced that it opened itself up to mergers, to acquisitions and mergers. So perhaps they're interested in doing something, maybe acquiring a new company or becoming part of a new company, so that they can perhaps expand that demographic.
Yeah.
Now,
best of luck to them with that.
Now, kind of jumping into the next and probably final topic here. Speaking of gaming companies, we're kind of speaking of one that's struggling right now, but I'd like to shift gears onto maybe one that's just starting to come into realm. And I don't know if you guys have heard much about or know anything about, but I don't know how to pronounce this word, but Ouya?
The Ouya.
The Ouya?
Yes, Ouya. Ouya.
Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts and opinions on that gaming system?
I do know that it was a royal flop when it came out.
It's a shame because it had an awful lot of potential, but as so many things on, I believe it was Kickstarter, it just didn't deliver on it. Great idea, poor execution.
Yeah, it did. A lot of people got it, and it sort of became just a big joke after a little while, and I think that's definitely unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea was it would be something which provides a great tool for indie development. It brings back all the old classic titles. It's compatible with mobile gaming. But in the end, it was very, very poorly optimized in most of the games. And although I haven't had one personally, I'm told that they are fairly poor quality of construction, which is, that's unforgivable in this day and age.
Yeah. Oh, so a neat little tidbit of gaming news that is very important for all platforms, and that is DirectX 12 is about to come out.
This is going to be bigger for PC enthusiasts, I believe.
No, because do you know where the name Xbox originally came from?
Well, it was originally running DirectX, wasn't it?
Yeah, DirectX Box. It was designed as a console that, as a piece of PC hardware that could literally interface directly with DirectX without needing to go through so much I'm going to call it junk, but without needing to go through an operating system to talk to the game, to play the game.
Now, you've said this is important news for the whole gaming world, but
It's important news for the whole gaming world because games can. Because
no, I may be mistaken on this, but am I right in thinking that console hardware is hard locked at a certain version of DirectX?
Well, I think that might have been the case a year ago. Now, it's not. Because if you know, as you probably know, Xbox is going for a Metro UI all around now. So they're trying to make it as easy as possible for them to port from hardware to hardware. So the natural step would be make it so that they have basically the same operating system.
Yeah. And I suppose the only hesitation I would have with that is, as far as I know, the 360 is locked at whatever version of DirectX it's currently running.
DirectX 10.
Yeah, which presumably means it's not going to be able to benefit from the upgrades. And, well, I suppose that's natural, that consoles are just going to improve as time goes by. With the coming of DirectX 12, this effectively does put a death sentence on the 360 for the release of new games for it.
Yeah,
it
does.
It's the first major update since 2008. That's 6 years. That's crazy.
Well, major announced update. Technically, DirectX 12 has not been out for that long.
Yeah.
DirectX 11, I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
DirectX 11 has been out as long as Windows 7. DirectX 11, however, was, I guess, announced in 2008.
Yeah.
All right.
That about covers everything, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
So,
Well,
do you want to finish up with some of the other questions that Zebra posed?
Yeah, we'll have the rapid-fire question round. The first question isn't actually from Beckoning Zebra, and it is, which is your least favorite NPC of any game you've ever played?
Ooh. Cat.
I presume this refers to cat while driving?
No, cat in general.
Ah. I'm not
She
sure I
was,
can argue with that, actually.
She was a horrible shot.
About the only good thing with Kat was that you couldn't trade weapons with her, and thus accidentally give her something like a rocket launcher, because that would have basically spelled instant death for a lot of players.
It would have. Oh, joy.
Was this question about Halo? I'm sorry. Or was it just in general?
Any games in just any game ever, I think.
Yeah, any NPC, I suppose.
I don't know. I think that's probably a really hard question because there's a lot of video games out there and there's a lot of awesome NPCs.
No, it's least favorite NPC.
Oh, least favorite. There's a lot of terrible NPCs. Go ahead, Mayhem, if you know one.
I don't have one right off.
Red?
Ooh, if I were to go for anyone at all, I would go for I'm trying to remember his name now. Nope. Can't bring it to mind, sorry. So I will go with Cat while driving as my least favorite NPC ever.
Yeah.
She's pretty horrible.
Yeah.
My favorite was the time that she drove the Warthog just perfectly so that it was tilted off the edge so that the game thought that we were flipped over, and so it kicked me out of the car, but it left her in the driver's seat. And it threw me off the edge. That was just amazing.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, she's pretty bad.
Next rapid-fire question. If the podcast crew had an arm wrestling competition, who would be victorious? Me. I'm going to go out on a limb and probably say me. You know
No,
why? Because I live on a farm. I'm a farm boy. I have multiple 50-pound feed bags. I work a lot.
Judging by the fact that I'm sitting shirtless in my room and just got home from the gym, I'm gonna have to go with myself.
What can you bench?
Just like 400.
No, in all seriousness, what can you bench?
I think I'm at 255 right now.
I can bench like a kilo if no one's looking and I'm, under no pressure.
So I don't know about benching, but I can carry 5 250-pound feed bags. So no, 5 50-pound fead bags. Never, no,
I
not
was gonna
5.
say, whoa,
Yeah.
dude.
That,
Whoa.
a ton and a quarter, I think.
No, I can carry 5 50-pound feed bags at once.
Right. Yeah, otherwise that would roughly put you in league with Superman and Hercules for carrying.
You know, I've been working out a little bit.
I literally sat here and like tried to do that math in my head, and I was like, okay, hold on a second.
No, I'm being serious. Guys, I'm elite 1337. I can lift 5 150. Now even I can't say it right. I can lift 5 250-pound feed bags. I can do it. Trust me.
Well, when I lived in Europe, I could lift about 1,000 pounds.
So what's
That
different
was,
about?
that was when I paid for something I didn't.
The heaviest
didn't need.
well, the thing that I'm most proud of ever lifting was I once lifted a 5,000-pound handbag.
Oh, wow.
It weighed about 2 kilos.
Oh man, these jokes are hilarious.
How funny are we? Give us a rating, 1 through 10. How funny are we? Please.
I know,
put
can
in
we use the
comments
log
below.
scale?
We'll be sure to read all of your lovely comments.
Right. And last question to close it out. What is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to us? And I'm presuming that's in a game of Halo, because extending it beyond that would be a
Yeah,
bit
you
hard.
see, I don't want to share what my real life one would be. So we're
Is
gonna
it trying
put it.
to lift a ton and a quarter of feed bags, by any chance?
No, it's not that. It's far more embarrassing than that. But we're not gonna go into details, are we, now, gentlemen?
So, most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me in Halo. Well, it was in Halo 3, I believe, and we were playing on Valhalla, and I rushed the Spartan laser in the center of the map while we were playing Capture the Flag, and as I was aiming over the ridge to kill the person who'd stolen our flag, I was charging the laser, and then my team's Warthog swept in front, and I got a triple betrayal and didn't even get the opposing flag carrier. And then someone assassinated me, so that was that. Not a great day to be me.
Okay, so mine is even more embarrassing than that. So you all are familiar with the warp glitch in Halo Reach?
Yes.
Okay, so that happened to a Scorpion tank randomly in Halo 3, right? I was playing a matchmaking game, BTB Heavies, on Sandtrap in Halo 3. I don't think it was called BTB Heavies, but it was a game type with a lot. It was a BTB game type, 8-on-8, and it was on Sandtrap. So our entire team was going for the elephant. So one of the enemy Scorpion tanks randomly glitched, and it flipped over the elephant. And so when you flip over the elephant in Halo 3, it says press RB to wait. What? How do you do that? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I flipped it over on top of the rest of my team. I killed every last one of them. I flipped over an elephant onto my team. It was pretty bad. Okay.
Wow.
Go ahead.
So one night I was at my house and I was with my roommate. We had a little bit too much grape juice, and we were playing I believe it was Halo Reach. Might have been 4. Not quite sure. But regardless, I do remember the moment. And it's a pretty even game. Like, we weren't doing bad by any means. But there was a certain point where our whole team, for whatever reason, had just ducked behind a corner and from sniper fire, and we were all like right in the same spot. And I was just thinking like, oh, I'll toss a nade to kind of scare this guy off. Nade bounces off the wall and takes my whole team's shields out, and then we literally all got sniped with one bullet.
Oh.
And then, hold on, the story gets even better. So that was like, oh man, I made a really bad mistake right there. Like, really sorry, guys. Felt really bad. And then and I'm not even joking, about like 1 minute later in the match, my roommate did the same exact thing, and we all didn't get sniped in a row that time, but we did all get taken out with 2 bullets. And we honestly like looked at each other and we were like, there's no way that we just back to back just got our whole team annihilated. And
so 2 people, so like this, the first guy, that is totally the highlight reel of his life, right? Got the entire team with 1 shot.
And he was probably like, how are all their shields down?
And then he's just like, oh, boop, oh, you're all dead. What? Wait, they're all dead?
He just turned pro.
Yeah, and you know that the announcer was like, overkill, extermination, and he's like, yeah,
extermination, Killionaire.
Yeah, speaking of exterminations,
Kilimanjaro.
Back in Halo 3, the amount of games I've played, the one thing I can never get was an extermination. Everyone I played with, it seems like each day they'd get an extermination. So I was playing Big Team Battle one time, and half the teams left on both sides, and I had a tank on the opposite side of the map on Valhalla, which is, and they all started coming out of the bottom of the base, and I just started, launching the projectiles out, and I got an extermination. I'm like, oh crap, I got one. And because my teammates were, they're hardcore MLG type players, when I told them, they're like, well, how'd you get it? I'm like, well, it was on Valhalla and Big Team Battle. It was nothing. I didn't want to tell them that I was using a tank. And they wanted details. I'm like, yeah, I used a tank. Oh, that's cheap. That doesn't really count. I'm like, whatever. It's my first one. Why can't you just let me have this? So.
To go on to a topic that is actually from the previous podcast, I know, and I apologize, but us podcastees have yet to do 1v1s and find out who in the podcast, I know is a question from a member, I don't remember who, asked us who was the best at Halo out of all of the podcast attendees. And so we are planning on eventually getting that to you. We just have yet to do it.
Yeah.
I believe me and Church actually did have a quick 1v1 and
although
had connection issues.
That one was rather dubious because we were both experiencing at least a second and a half of lag.
Yeah.
So
it basically invalidated the result.
Yeah, it did. Because at one point, I was even just sitting still, and I just couldn't move because it was bad, and that was that bad.
Yeah.
But we will do it eventually.
We will post the results, and I will probably be dead last. But there we go.
Why will you be dead last?
Because connection issues, man. Come on, I'm the furthest away.
Well, hey, no, that's literally the only time you and I have had connection issues while playing.
Well, while I've been living in my new place, but yeah.
Yeah, like we've never had that issue before, and it was rather surprising that it happened. So
it reminds me of I think the very first time I met Biggles in matchmaking was when I was living in my old place, and
I bet you that was fun.
Oh no, the internet there was so bad. I managed to snipe myself. I fired my
Wait.
sniper rifle. Nothing happened. After a few seconds, I ran forward. The shot then fires, passes through the back of my head, and kills me.
Did it count as a suicide?
Yes.
Man, that's fantastic.
I think I have a video of it. If I can find it, I'll post it on the YouTube channel so everyone can laugh at my
Yeah.
misfortune.
You have admins. So just upload it and upload it and also link it in the description for this video.
Yeah.
So
And,
also
that about
just-
wraps it up for tonight, I think.
Yeah, a question to the members to grace us in the comments with your beautiful, beautiful YouTube comments.
Love you all.
So tell us also in the thread where this is going to go up on the forum. Tell us how we're doing, how the length is, how you guys think it is, how the editing looks to you. I've made it a point to put something goofy in the end of every podcast. I'm racking my brains to think of what I'm going to do this time, but I'm sure I'll figure something out. So come on, who didn't like Master Chief drinking a cup of coffee with Rick Astley blaring? Come on,
It got stuck in my head.
come on, that was pure gold. I mean,
Great.
I love doing that. I made that coffee mug with such care. No, I kind of made that scene in about 30 seconds because I didn't have time, but So yeah, just tell us how we're doing. Tell us what you would like to see in future podcasts, and hopefully we can have Griffin back on in the future if we can help him resolve his issues with being in Australia. And so yeah, we hope you all have enjoyed the podcast. And we hope you will come back, and you will listen to it again and again and again until you're all dead.
Yeah, they're not going to do that with an outro like that.
Well, it was worth a shot. I mean, it was worth a shot.
Let's try something better, shall we?
Okay, how about you try? You see if you can do better than me.
Banter 2014.
Banjo
No,
2014.
no.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the 343 Industries Community Forum official podcast. We hope you've enjoyed listening. Thank you very much, and good night.
I can't stop.